Let me share a little bit about my journey as a woman in academia. Certainly it's been a long journey, but it's been an enjoyable journey, and I think if I had to trade off a career in academia with another kind of career, I wouldn't do that. I couldn't do that because I've enjoyed the interacting with students as well as residents and other faculty, and just the opportunity to look at new ways of doing things in ophthalmology and writing about it and experimenting these methods. So I think it's a great diversity of experiences that you don't necessarily get in other kind of paths. So that's why I enjoy it. But in terms of how did I get to where I am now? Well, after graduating from MIT with my master's and bachelor's in chemical engineering, I really wanted to do biomedical engineering. In fact, I had thought about just going to grad school, and I applied to both grad school as well as med school. Got into both. I got into Berkeley for their graduate program in chemical engineering, and as well as Harvard Medical School, as well as other schools, and decided on the medical pathway just because I thought that would give me a few more options. I'm glad I did, because even though I was so dedicated to research, it opened my eyes to experiences with patients. And I hadn't had that experience before, and so I decided in med school that I really wanted to have a balanced career, a career that would provide me the chance to do research, but also patient care, as well as education. I had a great role model, Dr. Matea Allen-Smith, at Harvard Medical School, and she had such a balanced life, and so ophthalmology became my choice. Ended up going back home to New Orleans for my residency and did my training at Charity Hospital. So in the middle of the night, would have to close open globes and did a lot of surgery. So that was a great experience. Also did some research while as a resident, which provided me the bridge to really fulfill my dream of getting back into more of a research focus. So I ended up going to Mass Eye, so back up to Boston, did 2 years of a glaucoma fellowship, worked with one of the few African-American ophthalmologists doing research in the country, Dr. Tom Richardson, so that was a benefit. And so had a chance to do some basic research with him, and decided that I wanted to at least to develop a career that could combine research and patient care and education. So that just reaffirmed my interest in doing that. I then went to University of Illinois, my first job. Morton Goldberg, who was the former chair of Wilmer Eye Institute and had been chair at University of Illinois for many years, I think 16 years at the time, actually was my first chair. He was a great chair, great leader, had a very inclusive environment, actually ruined me for life, because that was my expectation, that every department would be as inclusive and focused on research and excellence in patient care. When he left to go to the Wilmer Eye Institute, that actually threw me into a tizzy, and it was University of Michigan that then recruited me to join the faculty there, Paul Lichter. And so at University of Michigan, I had a great chance to continue to do some research, but I was also invited to be an assistant dean for faculty affairs. That opened my eyes to administration. And so when Don Wilson, the dean, he's African American, the first African American to be a dean of a majority institution at University of Maryland, called me and asked me if I would consider being a candidate for the position of chair at University of Maryland. I remember one of the first things I said to him, I said, ophthalmology is not ready for a woman. There are no women chairs of academic departments. And having been a trailblazer in so many avenues up until that point, at some point you decide, I'm just tired of being a trailblazer. I just want to be a faculty member. But he actually challenged me. He said, At Michigan, you'll be tolerated, but at Maryland, you can lead here. So that was a challenge that I said, I'm going to take this on. And so I became the first woman chair of ophthalmology at University of Maryland. I was followed just a couple of months later by Dr. Bronwyn Bateman, who was the chair at University of Colorado. So we were both women chairs and predominant mix of men and in the country. And so that was a very interesting phase of my life. Had a great time being chair. We built a program that included 2 VAs, so lots of clinical opportunities. We also built a nice research enterprise within a very small department and actually changed the name of the department from Department of Ophthalmology to Department of Ophthalmology and Visual Sciences, just to affirm the importance of research. So I was there for 12 years and then decided to be a dean. Was hired by David Satcher to be the dean at Morehouse School of Medicine. I always had an interest in public health, and I thought this would be a great partnership to be at Morehouse School of Medicine with David Satcher. So that was a good experience, and David and I are friends to this day. And so he's become part of my mosaic of mentors and sponsors. So I was a dean at Morehouse School of Medicine, and then I was recruited to go to Howard University to be the senior vice president for health sciences. That was a great opportunity because it gave me a hospital in my portfolio, and so that position provided at least the experience as well as a platform for some of the board positions that I have now. So now I do enjoy my role at University of Pennsylvania, and certainly it's a large regional system of about 7 hospitals, and certainly among one of the most diverse medical student classes. And my goal has been to increase the faculty diversity, so that's been my focus, gender as well as ethnicity. And so it's been a good experience because Penn is doing quite well, and we have lots of resources, a lot of great colleagues who want to continue to build evidence around the value proposition for inclusion and diversity. So I also am on the board of Ascension, which is the largest nonprofit health system in the country. It's in 23 states, 2,500 practice sites, including 140 hospitals. I love that organization because of the mission that it has to serve the underserved, the poor, and the vulnerable, leave no one behind in terms of health care. So this provides me a chance to actually have a nice intersect between my faith as well as my profession. And so to have this as a position at this stage of my career, I've been very happy about. And then finally, I also am on the Defense Health Board with the Department of Defense. And so that's another significant mission-focused organization, just ensuring that our service members globally have the best health care. So I think my career in academia has provided me a chance to fulfill many of my dreams, if you will, and to satisfy my passion for serving others, for making an impact, for creating a better future, particularly in health for the citizens of the United States. We need more women of color interested in academia because it is an environment where you can make an impact. So what are some of the things that I would say to someone who is just getting started? Well, first of all, be resilient. There are going to be lots of opportunities where people are going to try and tear you down and not be as supportive, but it's got to be your own passion and perseverance that's going to drive you forward. And to know what you're working towards. What is your purpose? What is your life's purpose? So I would say that that's number one at the very top of the list. Number two is to network and to have a large span of peers as well as sponsors who will support your efforts. Number three is really find your niche. Find a niche that can be your niche that you can become the world's expert in. Whether it's being part of a clinical trial or developing your own clinical trial, or maybe you have an idea of something that no one else has actually identified in your patient mix, if you will. There's something unique, is to continue to seek those opportunities where you can actually provide a contribution to the literature, to the body of knowledge that no one else can. So I would say that that would be another thing. And then finally is to stay involved and to continue to be active in meetings. And actually the third will provide you the chance to do the fourth because people will ask you to be a speaker at meetings, to be active, and to also mentor others. So I think actually being one to support others behind you actually is another fulfilling way to augment your ability to make an impact in the future.